We've got a special guest joining us.
Woo.
Adam, what do you want to do the honors of introducing him?
John Maakaron. I love his name, honestly. It's kind of sexy. John, how you doing this morning?
Good morning, fellas. It's great to see you.
up?
I'm so honored that you guys have me on the show. I'm looking forward to talking the Combine, Lions, all things quarterback, man. It's good stuff. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Thank you. This is the first time we've had John. I don't know what the hell has been going on with me.
Bud's had him on for 55 years.
Yeah, I'm an idiot. I don't know why the hell I never even reached out, John, so I apologize for that. But let's get started. John, the NFL Combine. Initial thoughts, big winners, big losers. How does that affect the Lions? What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Man, I love the change of having the Combine being aired from 4 till 11. I got all my work done, settled in for a lot of evaluations, 40-yard dashes, seeing the drills from the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, tight ends to start. So for me, first and foremost, I do have a gripe. I mean, when they ran the 40-yard dash, they got everybody all hyped. They were like, oh, my gosh, this individual almost broke the record. This wide receiver, I believe out of Baylor, almost broke the wide receiver, broke the record for the 40-yard dash, only to find out that these unofficial times were way off. I mean, come on. I know the NFL likes to tease people, but I've been teased my whole life. I don't need to be teased that much with the 40-yard dash. I want to see a little bit more accurate times. This is the National Football League. Let's get with it a little bit more. But overall, man, I sat there for 7 hours and watched the entire thing. I thought the wide receivers really established themselves to be a real deep class. And it gives me a little bit hope that, because I was, me personally, a little disappointed that the Lions draft pick slid all the way down to 32, because I felt if the team was able to be at, 23, 24, 25, then maybe you could get one of the top wide receivers. But, the Rams did their thing, and now, the Lions are sitting at 32. But the way in which these wideouts performed, everybody universally is talking about how deep this class is. So while I have my own ideas about what the Lions should do at 32 and 34, if they choose to address needs on defense at safety or linebacker, and they continue to look at wide receiver in later rounds of the draft, I'm a little bit more comfortable after what I saw on Thursday evening.
I do have a question, John, in terms of how gifted these wide receivers are, and it's going to pull off to one prospect, Kyle Hamilton. He's the talk of the town. Should the Lions draft him number 2 overall? I've already made my feelings pretty well known about it. I would rather kill myself than them draft a safety at 2, but I want to know your thoughts on one. Kyle Hamilton is a prospect I think we can all agree is very, very good, but at number 2 overall, does that make sense for the Detroit Lions, and what do you think they should be considering at number 2?
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Could the Lions fan base handle a defensive back again being drafted at number 2? I don't know. I think, it would definitely be great for us, content creators, regarding the angst the supporters would feel. Man, Kyle Hamilton can do it all. 6'4" plus. I think a safety that would address a need. For me, if they did it, I obviously I tend to be a little bit more skeptical with the Lions, obviously having drafted Jeff Okudah at number 3 when you could have had a quarterback. But Kyle Hamilton fits a need. But you could go a lot of different ways to fill the need at safety. You could bring back Quandre Diggs, who obviously was a mistake when the former regime, Bob Quinn, mistakenly traded him because of some perceived lack of respect in the locker room, and that was obviously came back to be a mistake. Quandre Diggs did a great job for the Seahawks if you bring him back and pair him with Tracy Walker. But if you go and you do that, I think you're going to have to do a little bit of selling to this fan base, because I think Aiden Hutchinson right now just has been mocked to the Lions by nearly everybody. I think this is somebody that his stock is steadily rising among supporters. There are some who goes out there and tells us that Aiden Hutchinson's top, but universally across the board, I think you're hearing good things about Aiden's potential regarding his work ethic, how he would fit in with Dan Campbell, the fact that he played at Michigan. I think that the Lions definitely, and Jeff said it, probably still have a lot of trust in regards to Brad Holmes. I think that people will respect whatever he does at number 2, but I think you got to address that. Yeah, you have to address that pass rush. It's been terrible since I've been podcasting, since I've been watching the Lions. They don't have a pass rush. And you heard, guys, all of you heard, the Lions are going to shift more to 4-down linemen a little bit more this upcoming season. And when he said that, when Dan Campbell announced that earlier this week, that really should signal to everybody Aiden Hutchinson's probably going to be the pick.
Well, thank you for joining us, John, number one. And number two, you sound like a smart guy. You are a smart guy. So I want to ask you about the quarterbacks because we've been having this conversation, and I know Malik Willis is the talk of the town, and you kind of got to see some of these quarterbacks sling it yesterday. Where are you at right now on the Lions? You have Jared Goff clearly for the next couple of years. Do you think the Lions, this would be the year to either stand pat, take a quarterback at 32, 34, or are you in the camp maybe to trade up, and if Malik Willis falls, you try and get a guy like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Let me tout my credentials here a little bit. I am an individual that does possess a master's degree in psychology. Now, I spend most of my time helping people get motivated, feel better, turn their life around, instill some energy. But in the sports world, man, I talk a lot of junk online at Detroit Podcast, and it's been fun. It's like an outlet. So this debate regarding the quarterback position in Detroit, oh my gosh, I've spent 5 years going back and forth regarding Matthew Stafford, and now the Lions have Jared Goff, and it's really a unique situation because you can have success with Jared Goff if you build around him, but I don't think you can have the ultimate success of getting over the hump and winning a Super Bowl. You need that elite level quarterback like you're seeing now in the AFC with Jared Allen, Patrick Mahomes, emerging now Joe Burrow. The quarterback position is one in which you got to go out and find somebody that's talented. And for me, one of the traits that I've been screaming about online is get somebody with mobility. Get somebody that can, if your pocket collapses, if the offensive line struggles and you have some injuries, that can move the football, that can, evade defenders. Malik Willis does that. But man, what a tough decision to make. Do you take him at number 2 and sit him behind Goff for a year or two? I just don't think with where the needs are, with where the Lions rebuild is at, I would have no problem with Malik Willis. He fits the bill of what a developmental quarterback would be. All you can do is hope that he's there at 32. I don't think so because I think the Steelers would pick him up pretty quickly there in the draft. But I think right now the strategy in which the Lions, I think, are going to do is you just got to pass this year on quarterbacks. Build this team with those 9-10 picks and find ways to get Jared Goff a little bit more success. And you can also, guys, you can look to free agency for somebody, maybe the likes of a Marcus Mariota, to bring in here as a backup for Jared Goff. But in terms of the quarterback this year, everybody projects it to be kind of not the best class. So I am opposed to reaching at any level. Malik Willis probably would be the quarterback I would bring in to develop if you do it, because he could learn from Jared Goff's presence, his ability to read defenses, and Malik Willis is a freak athletically. I think you could, if it turns out right, be looking at the next Lamar Jackson. But would it happen here in Detroit? You got to really be patient, because I think, us, we want to get, if the Lions draft Malik Willis, probably by September 15th, me, Adam, and the likes would be calling for him to be out there right away on the field. But
no, don't do that. Don't do that to me, John. I would be dead. No, I would be dead. I already made an agreement. They draft Malik Willis, I'm jumping off the Ambassador Bridge, or I'm putting a bullet in my head.
You said at 2, or are you just saying drafted?
At 2, yeah.
At 2.
So it better not happen. But John, you know what? Since we're going to be on the subject of quarterbacks, Jared Goff, for all the crap I can give him,
yeah,
he's still a decent quarterback, average, whatever you want to define him as. I have no issue with that. You can win football games with Jared Goff, and he offers you this bridge ability where you can build a sustainable roster, John, a roster that can compete for years to come, similar to what Kansas City did when Alex Smith was the quarterback. And my concern now is this team and this fan base is, we need a quarterback. Get the quarterback. Bruh, you had a quarterback for 12 years, and you didn't do lick with it. You never had a pass rush outside of, 1 or 2 years? Never had a run game. Never had anything outside of a number 1 wide receiver. And then when he retired, you had, Marvin Jones? Kenny Galladay? Oh, Golden Tate, right? For a few years. Great job. And no defense. Go get the pass rush. Now, if it's Aiden Thibodeau, the kid out of Purdue, John, I don't care. But this nonsense talk of a quarterback, you're paying Jared Goff $30 million this year. And you know what? He's still relatively young. And if this guy re-signs on a 2-year extension, 24, $30 million, hell, even 2-year, $40 million contract, Lions are in a good position, John. I don't see it.
Look, I understand, Adam, in regards to your thinking about Jared Goff and his role with the team. But right now, unfortunately, he is battling perception. Right now, he's viewed as the throw-in in the Matthew Stafford trade. Remember, the Rams had Jared Goff. They had everything around him, and they said, we need more. And they went to somebody a little bit more athletic, a little bit more of a bigger arm. So Jared Goff has limitations in that he doesn't have the strongest arm. He is risk averse. You do have to build a really solid team around him. But that's kind of how it goes in the National Football League. What the Lions and fans kind of understand is there are going to be times when maybe you make a mistake in the draft. Maybe you don't get exactly the correct wide receiver. Maybe an offensive lineman gets hurt like a Taylor Decker, or maybe a Penei Sewell, or somebody goes down like Frank Ragnow for a season. You need that quarterback to elevate everybody. So that's why it's tough. Dan Campbell spoke on it. They said they would select a quarterback that they felt was complete, that could lead a locker room, had mobility, could understand what was being installed. So that person, that individual is hard to find. Now, Jared Goff has skills. This is not a quarterback that is lower tier. But for the Lions fans, they've seen Matthew Stafford. They've seen a quarterback ranked in the top 15 per se. What Lions fans are hoping for is that potentially they can find a quarterback that can be top 5, elite at the level of a Jared Allen, where you go, wow, let's build around him. Right now, that's not there in the draft. So I understand where people are saying, okay, what can we do with Jared Goff? And what you can do is continue to build the offensive line, continue to build the defense, and get a wide receiver that can take the top off the defense. So in year 2 of the rebuild, Jared Goff is serviceable. In year 3, Jared Goff would be serviceable. But when it comes time to get deep into the playoffs, when we're talking about going into Lambeau and defeating the Packers, going into Dallas and trying to overcome the refs and the crowd and everything that would be thrown at the Lions, could Jared Goff handle that pressure? Right now, most assume no, and that's why everybody looks to the draft to find that special stud quarterback. I just don't see it potentially in this crop of quarterbacks. I hope it happens, but yeah, you can have success with Jared Goff, but right now, Lions fans are starved for not just one playoff win. Give us a run. Give us something that can give us hope a little bit for the future. And for Jared Goff, I think that this season for him, he's got to turn around that perception, and he's got to limit the turnovers. He's got to be able to stay healthy, and he's got to turn around perception, because right now it's not the best perception that he has amongst the fans in general.
Absolutely. I mean, look, the Lions are in a win-win with Jared Goff. If he stinks it up this year, they're going to have a top pick next year, and they're going to be able to take their quarterback. If he does well, they're going to be able to reevaluate and see, hey, we have a ton of draft capital. Maybe we want to trade up. But, John, I do want to take a quick break. When we get back, we got a few more questions for you, if you don't mind giving us your time a little longer.
Hey, you made it all the way through. I'm so proud of you. Why don't you make me more proud? Like, subscribe, and watch another video.